We're doing jazz hands today. That's not jazz hands, spirit fingers. Every time I do spirit fingers, I think of Bring It On. These aren't spirit fingers. These are spirit fingers. Anyway, I don't know. I'm weird. Today I don't really have anything on the curriculum per se, but the thing that I've been needing to hear is usually the thing that other people need to hear as well. So here it is. Go do less. I'm just going to talk to myself right now. Sarah, stop trying to fill every moment of every day. You don't have to be practicing for an hour. You don't have to be writing songs every moment. Your time laying in bed in the morning is precious. Take more of it if you want to, because you need more rest in your life. So if you're a person like me, that it feels like viscerally painful to not do anything, just come with me on this train of rest. I turned on an audiobook that I hadn't listened to in many weeks, and guess what chapter it was on? The chapter about rest. So I was like, okay, thank you. I hear you. I hear the instruction that I am needing right now. So if you are struggling with your voice being tired, rest. If you're struggling with hitting some high notes, rest. If you're struggling with being overwhelmed, not knowing when you're going to have time to practice, rest. If you're struggling with your brain being too full and feeling like learning new things is a whole overwhelming, the thing that it would like break the camel's back, if you feel like learning one new thing would just implode you, then rest. If you're not one of these people, amazing. Congratulations. If you have no problem resting, tell me your ways, because it really is hard, I think, for us, especially growing up in this society. I just started following this guy who's like a millennial overwhelm coach, and he talks about like, oh, look at all these people who were, praised for their intelligence in the gifted and talented program as millennials, in elementary school. It seems like we're all in the same boat now, just burnt out and trying to do too much and wondering why, and why it feels so hard and gross to do less, when that's really all our bodies and minds are asking for. For me, it's not so much my body, but my mind that needs the rest, I've noticed, because I'm not like, I used to be like an over-exerciser. I used to do so much. And on top of working a very physical job, 40 plus hours a week, and being just on all the time, like it was a customer service job. And up until I started running my own teaching business, that's what I did. I swam 4 days a week. I ran. I went to work. I lifted boxes. I made coffee all day. Was on my feet, just like running myself into the ground. And so I've kind of found the balance in that, I think. Maybe too much to the other direction, because I don't do a lot of rigorous exercise now. I found myself in a season of doing a lot of like yoga and walking and like swimming in the ocean for a little bit. But now I think I need to start to balance it the other way, because giving my body the rest for me means that I don't give my mind the rest. So like, oh, I was resting is something I'll say all the time. Like, oh, I was just laying down. Well, what were you doing? I was on my computer. What were you doing on your computer? Were you watching a video? No, I was working. So if you're anything like me and you struggle with the addiction to working and the addiction to being stressed and always doing stuff, because laying down feels too unproductive and you have to do stuff while you're laying down. You're not alone, and we can do this. We can take some time and let our brains actually rest. Because I don't know about you, but as artists, especially us people who put more weight and more importance on our creative side, I cannot be the same artist, the same creative being when I am tired that I am when I am fully rested. And I forget that all the time, especially now that I have started to be in a more, a place of wanting to bring my art into the space of making money with it. And that is a hard thing. Anytime you put your financial safety and you tie it up with something, you're going to feel so much more attached to being productive about it, right? If you're not to that place yet with your art and your singing, don't worry about it. But keep an eye on what your training, your societal training is doing as you start to work up to this point. You know, even if you are not trying to make money with your music, keep an eye on what your brain does in these situations. Like, it still will treat it that way sometimes because the capitalism is so ingrained in us. And I really have to watch that for myself, because I grew up with an entrepreneur father as well. Also a people pleaser. Like, that's where I learned all my stuff from. And so it can be really easy for me to just go and do and think, oh, okay, well, this is how I make money, so like I gotta do it. There's no excuse, right? But in reality, when I really look at it and I zoom out, like when I don't allow myself to rest, my brain to rest, and especially as a vocalist, we have to allow our physical body to rest and our vocal folds to rest, because otherwise it will get tired. Like a piano doesn't get tired. We can hit those keys all we want and it doesn't get tired, but this gets tired. So we have to prioritize rest. And I've gotten pretty good at that with my voice. But as an entrepreneur now, with my brain, I haven't quite caught up to that mindset yet, right? Like, I need to think of my brain as I do my vocal folds. Like, I know, and I tell all my students this, if you're gonna sing the next day, if you're gonna perform, if you're gonna go for like a longer practice period, you have to rest beforehand. Like, if you have just done a rigorous practice and you're starting to feel, oh, okay, so feel a little tired, take the whole rest of the day and don't make any sound, right? Drink a lot of water, take care of your vocal folds. That's the most important thing. However, I don't do that with my brain. And I'm just realizing this right now as I'm talking. Honestly, that's why I love these lives. Sometimes things come out of my mouth, I don't even know what's going to happen. I need to hear this today. And if you need to hear it, put an emoji in the comments. Give me like a dolphin or something. So yeah, it's a real thing. And we have been told our whole lives, especially if you're my age, mid-30s, that we gotta do more to be worth more, to succeed more. And to a certain extent, that is true, because most of us work hourly jobs. So technically, literally, that's what's tied up to. But so much of this idea, and the problem with it, is that we take it to 100. We take it way past where it should have been in the first place. So we find ourselves working 10, 12-hour days because we're hustling, we're doing the thing, right? And honestly, I think like capitalism is shifting towards a more entrepreneurial pattern instead of big corporations, and I love that. But we also have to be very careful that we're not just doing entrepreneurship the same way we did capitalism, we did corporations, right? So if you are doing your own thing, if you are starting an art business, if you are making your own music and starting to put it out, watch when you start to get tired, what does your brain do? Does your brain go, okay, just an hour more? Or does your brain go, okay, maybe it's time to rest now? And I think it takes so much work for so many of us to train that instinct, right? It's not really, we've kind of had it trained out of us. I'm sure we had that instinct when we were kids. When I'm tired, I rest. Or I get cranky. And then my parents are like, oh, you need to rest. We don't do that for ourselves nowadays as adults. At least I have a really hard time with it. When I get cranky, I'm like, why am I feeling so cranky? And then I take a zoom out, or my husband has to tell me, like, hey, you're tired. You need to chill. You need to rest. And that is a hard thing to hear because it's not how I've been trained. So I'm working on training myself out of that, retraining my natural human instinct to rest when I freaking need to rest. The other thing he told me the other day, and my husband is trained with therapists, so what he says is usually very smart, as much as I roll my eyes at it. He's like, resting is not the same as chilling. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is a foreign concept to me. It's just words. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, chilling is watching a movie, reading a book, scrolling Instagram. That can be count as chilling, talking, hanging out with friends. But that is not always resting, right? I guess chilling, yeah, they're not really the same thing. And I'm mind blown, So especially as creative people, sometimes we have no choice but to force ourselves to do our creative work outside of our 9-to-5 jobs. But if your brain is already wiped from your 9-to-5 job, you are going to show up to your art and your singing and your music as if you are already spent, right? You're not going to be able to open up yourself to any kind of easy flow. You're going to be just forcing everything. At least that's how it feels for me in my experience. So I have to, it's now a responsibility that I am taking on, just like any other thing that I have to do. It's a task that I need to think of as just important as any session with a student or a meeting with somebody or anything that would make me money. It's a responsibility to rest for myself. So I'm making that happen. And I'm looking at what my body needs. So I went swimming today in the pool for the first time in a really long time. I used to be a swimmer. I used to be a long distance swimmer. I used to do masters swimming. One of my many lives that I've lived. And I used to train for 10K swims, which is 6.2 miles. Like, holy moly, I can't even imagine that now. I swam for half an hour today and I was wiped. So I think that's maybe what my body needs more of, because I've been having a lot of stuck energy and a lot of like restless muscles. Because I think I have been really just, here's my brain work and here's my body work, right? Like I do a little yoga a couple times a week. I go for walks. It's really nice. But like I haven't been taxing my body. And so all the energy goes into my brain. And then when my brain is tired, I keep going because I still have more energy and it's not working for me. So if you're this kind of person, maybe let's start an accountability group together. Like a little more rigorous exercise to get my body more tired so that my brain doesn't take the weight of that. And then less time on screens is a huge one that I'm going to try and work on. So like maybe that whole hour of rigorous exercise, more rigorous exercise, is something like swimming that I can't look at a screen. I can't listen to music. I just have to be in my own head and be present and here. And then that hour then shifts the balance so that I used my bodily energy and I got some good endorphins and got some good tiredness in there. Oh, my internet. It's being dumb. So yeah, that's my goal, is to make my body a little more tired so that my brain can rest a little, if that makes sense. and my voice, like I do practice. I sing all day long with my students, and I have to be very aware of when I am tired, when my voice is tired, and I need to take that rest and not force. I've been pretty good about that, like not forcing a recording session, like after a whole day of teaching. Even if I do record something, I'll make sure that I'm recording the background vocals first so that I'm warming up and easing into it. Not, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, not doing the big stuff and taxing your vocal budget too early. And then just realizing that you're human and that there's more time tomorrow. And there's so much that we can do with more rest. Like the things that I always think, hey Sam, the things that I always think that I have to get done today, then I have to go be productive for the last 2 hours of energy that I have. I usually don't end up finishing it and at least doing it well. Like my practice, if I do that in those moments, doesn't end up being fun. It doesn't end up being very fruitful. But then if I take those 2 hours and actually rest, like go to bed early, close my eyes, do some just breathing, like I'm also working on doing meditation, but it really almost looks like just laying on my bed, closing my eyes and going, not even thinking about anything, which is definitely more of what my brain needs. And then, I come back the next day and I'm so much more refreshed and more creative and more excited about what I'm doing and having fun with it. Go figure, when you're actually rested and awake, you enjoy yourself more and you don't feel like you're struggling and pulling teeth, just forcing yourself to be in a creative space. Like, that's not a good way to train your body to relate to your creative self. I don't know why my internet is being dumb. It's being dumb. Anyway, that's not a good way to train yourself to relate to your creative self if you only do it when you're wiped out and it doesn't feel fun and it feels frustrating because you're tired. Give the gift to yourself of rest. And again, I'm just talking to myself here. I'm going to watch this back every week because I need to hear it. So I don't know about you, but rest is so important. If you're a person that doesn't have a problem resting, you can ignore this whole thing. Just keep on doing you. Rest. Come back to your creative self. Rest. Come back to work. Vice versa. I don't know what's happening with my internet. It's really ridiculous. Anyway, if you're on my other community, you can go watch it over there. Watch back the replay if this is cutting out. I don't know what's happening on Instagram. Anyway, that's my talk today. Just go rest if you need to rest, even before you think you need to rest. So if you see me not resting, if you see me burning the candle at both ends, just yell at me. Be like, hey, Sarah, when's the last time you rested your brain? When's the last time you rested your mind? Yes. When's the last time you went for a swim? When's the last time you exercised? When's the last time you got all of your wobbly, crazy energy out, did a dance party? Sometimes that can help you facilitate rest. So yeah, things to think about. That's all I got today because I need to go rest. I don't know. Swimming felt really great today though. So highly recommend getting in the water because water is really good for us as humans as well. We'll see if I can keep it up. It's not going to happen every day. I know that because yoga is one of my favorite ways to exercise because it actually stretches everything, and I don't want to create the tangle shoulders that I had when I was swimming so much more often. So I got to balance it out. Alternation, balance is great, but especially if you're a singer, rest your vocal folds, rest your voice as much as you can within the confines of your work and responsibilities. Rest your brain and your body equally. Make sure you're getting good sleep, not just blah sleep, but solid sleep. Get some earplugs, whatever you need to do. Go to bed earlier. That's been really amazing. My husband is working on waking up at 6 a.m. Like 5 days a week. And every time I hear his alarm, I'm like, I hate it so much. But then I'm already awake and I'm working on stuff in my head, even if I'm revolting and trying to lay in bed. And so together we end up getting up earlier and going to bed earlier. And the last couple of weeks that he's been doing that, it has motivated me to get up earlier and do more in the morning. And it makes me feel more productive and like a better human. So, well, try it out if you want. Anyway, I'm here for whatever singing stuff you need. If you are interested in working with me, you can go check out all the links in the thing. I have my Enchanted Voice program, which I'm going to open the doors to again probably in the next month. So if you have questions about that, just message me. Vocal Magic will be starting again within the next 3 or 4 months. I'm almost positive. So if you're interested in diving deep with me about this body, mind, nervous system way of being a singer, let me know. Message me and let's have a good time. Let's enjoy singing. Yes? Instead of forcing ourselves to get in the weeds with the technique only and think, oh, I'm not a technically good singer. It's probably not true. We're made to sing, and so yeah, that's all I have to say. Well, let's do it. Let's get into it and find out where your blocks are and how to take care of your instrument and how to take care of your nervous system, which is your instrument. And I love to talk about it so much. Groups are expanding, so if you're interested, let me know. Okay. Yes, you too. Go rest. Let's all have a restful rest of your Tuesday and rest of your week. Life is crazy, so that's the best antidote I can think of. Life is life and hard, so rest when you need to. Okay, love you very much.